This time we are going to Spain in the Pyrenees. We are probably mid-2010s. And remember I told you my Land Rovers I never had any issues with, but when we go on adventure, sometimes stuff happens. Back in the days, John Pearson, the editor of Land Rover, owner International magazine, and I were traveling around Europe. So pretty much every month we would come with another story for the magazine. And this one takes us to in the Pyrenees. So it's the mountain chain in between France and Spain. Fantastic, very rocky, not so challenging, and fantastic views. However, midway through the crossing, which would take probably the best part of 10 days, John's Defender 110, done the G4 challenge and many adventure, just decided to give up. So upon further investigation, it looks like there is a diesel in the oil, so it's a TD5 Defender. We could still drive it, but we definitely need to bring it to the local garage. So we decide to take a shortcut, go to civilization back, and find a local garage. But unfortunately, they cannot really touch it for another few days. So it doesn't really work for us to produce our story and eventually go home in the UK. So what we do, we find out in Andorra, a couple of hours away, there is a Land Rover dealership. So we drive over there. Everything's fine. However, those guys won't touch the car because John doesn't have the V5, which is the document from the UK that shows that you actually own the car. Not that you would steal a bright orange Defender and try to get it serviced abroad, but here we go. So same deal as our Moroccan adventure, we needed documents sent from the UK, which eventually happened, and then they could finally register it and decide to touch it. That's going to take a few days, so be it. And then even when they have diagnosed the car, it's going to take some time to get the parts. So luckily, the RAC, which is the AA in America, they managed to find us a rental car, and they send us a taxi. But the taxi somehow doesn't know where to find us, so it takes him maybe another couple of hours before he finds us. And then he drives us to the rental, the car hire shop or company. And by the time we actually get there, it's closed. All right, so it's raining, it could be the worst day of your life. You're tired, you don't really know what's going to happen. We call the RAC again, please find us a hotel. So send another taxi, takes another hour. Oh, finally made it to the hotel. The hotel doesn't even know about us, so no rooms, and they try to give us one room for the two of us, which not gonna work really, and eventually, after another hour of negotiation, we finally got it. What happened is the head cracked, so there was no way for it to be repaired anytime soon. And what we managed to do is get a hire car the next day, go to Barcelona to pick up a brand new head from Britpart, and then bring it back, and after a week, we finally made it home. So yeah, sometime a minor fault. Well, it's not a minor fault, but it's not the end of the world either. It's a relatively easy fix if you've got the time to do it and the parts. And yeah, so again, when you go on an adventure, set up a departure date, but not a return date because it's never going to be right. So back then, it's not my car, so as much as I feel bad for John, I just don't care. It's just, time. I told him, John, in 10 years' time, we'll laugh about this. And he was not taking it. He was not having it at all. But you know what? Since it's been our favorite story to talk about, and so here we go. So, you make the best out of the bad situation. The funny thing is, for the magazines, the readers, they love their Defenders. They will want a Defender on the cover. Every time you try to put a Discovery or Classic Range Rover, sales go down. Freelander, don't even think about it. So that's why, and John, first of all, he loves his Defender. So and the 110 is fantastic for long travels because he took the Defender in Australia, in Africa many times. So I would typically fly and meet him, but it didn't do the long stretch of roads through France and then Spain and so on. No, it's not the best Land Rover to do long miles, but once you're in the rough stuff, it's definitely the best car. All right, so the next story takes us in America. This time we are, in Las Vegas and then California. My friends, Rick at Land Rover Las Vegas and Ray Dinardi, who runs the business, even though they work on the corporate side of things, they're also big off-road and adventure overlanding aficionados. So every year we would go for one or two adventure around Nevada or California. On this occasion, we did the Mojave Trail, which is in California, and it's supposed to take maybe a couple of days to go through it. Rick, back then, he just received a brand new Range Rover Sport, and he wanted to take that, but I told him, no, you have some fantastic classic Land Rovers. Let's take another one of those. We've never done an adventure with the long wheelbase classic Range Rover, and it's AA yellow. It has everything you want to go on an adventure. Big chunky tires, a roof rack, everything you need. They got it serviced. Obviously, it's a 25-year-old truck. Something may happen, but they got everything serviced. Everything was supposed to be okay. So the next day, we are in Laughlin, Nevada, getting ready, topping up on fuel, water, getting some beef jerky, and off we go. And then the track is quite nice, and soon enough, you get those desert hoops. So those hoops, they get you a bit seasick on land. It feels like the track was designed by someone that didn't want you to go there. So it's really made so you don't really enjoy your time. So off we go. And after a couple of hours, the Range Rover V8 decided to just get rid of his coolant in the middle of the desert. So yeah, that happened. So the thing is, I looked into it. I couldn't see anything under the bonnet, under the hood. We tried using our phones, didn't work. Somehow my British phone did work, but our US phone didn't work, and we managed to call a friend of ours who is about 20 miles away. Now, in the desert, 20 miles can be 2 to 3 hours. So we at least told him where we were, and ideally we want him to come with, maybe some pipings, lots of water and coolant, and try to help us. After 2 hours, he's still not there and no way to contact him. So we investigated even more. And I finally found what was the issue. A valve on the heating system broke. It was probably the original part itself. The valve broke, and it was a plastic part. And obviously we don't have a spare valve in the truck, but we managed to MacGyver the valve out of metal putty and a few sockets from the toolbox. Fitted it all, zip tied it. Now we have a cooling system that works, but we don't have any coolant. And our water bottles, we were supposed to be gone for 2 days, so we had plenty of water, but we don't have enough water to fill the system and have enough water for the next day, at least to go those 20 miles. So what do? We decided to pour the water to fill half of the system, to at least have a little bit of it and get it working, not to kill the engine, because that would be another issue to deal with. So Rick and I went to do our business at each end of the car, and because you don't really know what's going to happen. You don't know it's getting dark. You don't know what's going to happen. So we figured, we might as well just keep some fluids in containers. So we did that, and it was getting dark. No sign of our friend. So no way to use the cell phone anymore. So we decided to get going. So we drove very slow, not to overheat the engine. Finally end up, after those 20 miles, at our friend's house. But he was nowhere to be found. So it was probably midnight, and his wife was starting to freak out, because not only we came back, so it means we haven't seen him, but we don't know where he is. There's no way to reach him. Yeah, it was a tricky one. So we were about to call 911, and luckily at the horizon we could see 2 lights, and that was him coming back. So that was a tricky situation. The thing is, what I forgot to mention is, of course, we didn't have enough water, but luckily one of the spare gas jerry can on the roof rack, which was actually filled with water, which actually helped us, put some water in the system. The moral of this story is, you're never over-prepared. Take more tools than you think you will need, and be aware that a tiny part can actually mean life or death. Not only Rick's and I, but also our friends could have not come back from the desert. So you're dehydrated, maybe you're not thinking straight. You spent half a day in the sun. There's nothing, there's no one passing those track. And the thing is, Hugh actually came he passed us, but the track where we broke down, the track actually splits into 2. And he must have passed us maybe 50 yards. Like, I don't know why I wouldn't see him. And again, in the desert, you probably don't drink enough and you don't think straight. And the good thing is, the Range Rover is still running. It's still going on more adventures, and we took it on other adventures ever since. But always be prepared. But again, the moral of the story is, The relationship, the friendship I have with Rick would never have happened if we didn't have all those adventures. So get ready for some excitement. Don't freak out, because you will discover yourself in this type of situation. You will understand more of your friends, how they think. And I was really impressed with Rick. I must say, quite happy the way I managed the stress, because obviously we made it back, but that's the first time we figured, yeah, something could have happened that would have made us not come back. At least not driving the truck. It would have been too much of a walk, and we would have been dehydrated by the time we made it to the ghost town. Just to conclude, I wanted to send a farewell to our friend Ray Dinardi, who is retiring after 25 years of overlanding with the green oval, and he did so much for the brand in Las Vegas. So enjoy your retirement. I know you'd be either on a bike or in Land Rovers, and I look forward to more adventure with you guys.
Right now, we've got the greatest offer we've ever had from Avalon King. Their AS9 DIY ceramic coating is now just $59.99. That's $20 off. And for the first 100 people today to click the link in the description below, they're going to get a free bottle of the Armor Shield Light, a $34.99 value included. Now, what we love about this is that it has the same hydrophobic properties that we love about the ceramic coating, but it's so much easier to work with and use whenever you need just a spot or whatever cleaning up, like you would a quick detail in the Armor Shield Light. And if your car is already coated, this will sort of energize and rejuvenate the coating to make it perform even better. So check them out now at the link in the description below to get yours today.